Hey, so first on the docket, we got Bill O'Brien coming back to New England as an old coordinator. Now, he previously was there back in 2011. I think in 2008, 2007. He started his career as offensive assistant in New England back in the late 2000s, and then worked his way up from offensive assistant to wide receivers coach to offensive coordinator. And he was actually the offensive coordinator when they played the Giants in the Super Bowl and they lost. So I think this is a good connection, just kind of teeter-tottering between Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, the same type of kind of coach. Saban and Belichick coached together. And believe it or not, Bill O'Brien has had success at Alabama. When Sarkisian left, Bill O'Brien came in, filled in the hole. And I think if filled that void, if Bryce Young doesn't get injured this year, and if Mechie, your two top receivers, Mechie and Williamson, don't go down, Alabama wins 2 national championships. So I think it's a good area for him to be in. I'm pretty sure that there's some type of connection between him and Mac Jones that they can kind of work out. I know people kind of just badmouth Bill O'Brien, but I think there's a lot of good things that he has when he has weapons to work. Him not being a head coach, I believe, is the best thing for him. Him staying as a offensive coordinator, I think he has a mind for it if he has the right tools. I do believe that Bill O'Brien and Belichick work together and get things right, with Patricia stepping down. So you have a lot of offensive minds in that room. The thing about the Patriots is you have to get some weapons, and this is where if your defense is going to be as stout as it usually is, you have to get some offensive weapons and give Mac Jones some help. He's playing with second grade receiver. Don't get me wrong, every player who plays in the NFL is exceptional. So when I say a second grade receiver, I'm not talking about somebody who's a bum or anybody off the street. What I mean by that is they are a top tier, upper echelon athlete that changes the way offense plays, that makes the defense think. That's why when I say not second tier, or second tier. He has a bunch of second-tier receivers who are solid because they're playing in the NFL, but they're not exceptional. They're not a standout receiver. They don't change the way the defense thinks. So I think that's where Belichick's going to have to break the bank or make some trades. Your defense, I think the scheme, you can put anybody in there and it'd be successful. Not anybody, but put players in there who are smart. And where Belichick has been exceptional with the Patriots, because they really haven't had a true slump. Maybe one year, they had a true slump before Cam Newton came in. But it's funny because for the Patriots, a 9-10 win season for them is a slump, and they should have been in the playoffs this year, but just some bonehead mistakes at the end of the games that are the reason why they lost. But for one thing Belichick does well is he has players who execute. And if you have 22 above average players who can execute, and you have kind of if you have 22 players who can execute, right? 22 above average players who can execute versus a roster that has a lot of talent in some places, weak in some places, that don't execute, then those 22 players who execute are going to do well, and that's the recipe for success. Belichick drafts smart players. He drafts players who think, who have who are witty, who understand not just X's and O's, not just how to win a one-on-one matchups, the grand scheme of things. So I think that the defense will be okay, but with Bill O'Brien coming back, of course, when he was in Houston, he was they had an okay year, but other than that, they were trash. He got blackballed out of Alabama because the offense. And I can't blame Bill O'Brien. This year with Alabama, they played solid. They played well, and if Bryce Young doesn't go down, they don't lose. I think it was the defense more or less that really kind of thought it. When they lost to Tennessee, they scored 40-some points. When they lost to LSU, they just got. LSU just beat them across the board. But I don't think that was predicated on Bill O'Brien. So I think Bill O'Brien comes in with New England. He changes some things up. They go after some names in free agency. I think that Robert Kraft is kind of over this, kind of seeing what's happening with New England Patriots. He's kind of over just getting these marginal players. He wants a big name. He wants Boston to be back up in the market. So I fully expect them to get some big names in free agency. And with Bill O'Brien, getting in here early. I think that will allow him to really be able to kind of fine tune who he wants in and what kind of players he's looking for. So I expect big things out of the Patriots.